Hello and welcome to Straight 8 2021, the premiere of the Best 8. This is our special showcase. I'm Ed. I'm high up above Straight 8 shed quarters here in London on an autumnal day, being blustered by wind and probably rain in a second. So I'm going to keep this short because some excited people need to see their films that they've made and they have not seen yet. And we're all going to watch them together. In 1999, last century, I asked 22 friends if they would like to try and make a short film just with a Super 8 camera, using the trigger as their edit tool, taking every shot in camera and making the whole film on one cartridge of Super 8 like that. And we did it. And through lots of twists of luck, we ended up in a West End cinema in London with 220 people, with 220 seats. There's lots of twos in this if you're into numerology. And even before the show started, people were saying, what's next for Straight 8? And all I could think was, well, we haven't seen the films yet. I don't know. And I never realised what would happen in the next 22 years. So here we are, and it hasn't changed. And we're somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 films made now, and I cannot keep count. It's incredible how we still get new things we've never seen before, some of which we're going to see any minute now. So I'm just going to quickly say some thank yous, and then we're going to have a quick explanation of how it works from Alex, just in case anyone isn't clear how difficult it is to make a Straight 8 film. We always say it's one of the hardest ways on earth to make a film. It's also one of the most rewarding. Let me just say thank you to CineLab London, incredible lab working on the biggest, best feature films, and at the same time giving lots of love to Straight 8 ever since 2016, and getting all our rolls of film that we're shooting in the same warm bath of chemicals as big films like and Impossible, which I'm not allowed to say because of NDAs and stuff, but you can imagine. So a really big thanks to Adrian and Artie and Sonji and Joss and the whole team there that are so supportive, and now Tom too. I also want to thank all our pre-selectors. This year we had 150 or so films, and we, for the first time ever, got past Straight 8ers to help us watch them and score them. So every single film was seen by at least 2 people. Each of those people filled the criteria of having made a great Straight 8 in the past and not having entered this year. So a massive thank you to all of them. I would also like to say huge thank you to our jury. This year that included, ladies first, Justine Wright, Marley Hanson, Joanna Duncombe, and then we've got on the boys' side, Robbie Ryan, Mark Jenkin, and Asif Kapadia. These are busy filmmakers and film curators. They really take it seriously. They love doing it. They take their time, and you should see some of the email exchanges as they try and battle it out very politely and very professionally to uphold the films they really believe in. And that is how we get from our short list of 25 down to 8. And everyone that entered this year, I want to say thank you to, because honestly, it's the energy, it's the imperceptible stuff that happens when a collection of people around the world all try and do something that makes it what it is. It's not just about the people that have made these brilliant films that make it through. It's an amazing kind of collective feeling, and I always say it's a bit like sort of making a film in this way is a bit like hearing a great song on the radio instead of hearing it because you've chosen to play it just to yourself. There's sort of something bigger going on. Anyway, I won't get too woo-woo. I think we've got to move on. So without further ado, here's Alex to explain exactly how hard it is to make a Straight 8 film. My eyes are watering. Yes, I'm emotional, but also it's freezing. I'm going to go inside and watch the films. Enjoy. Thanks.
Shooting a Straight 8 is one of the hardest ways in the world to make a film. You're just armed with one of these, a Super 8 camera, mostly from the 1970s, and a single roll of Super 8 film. Looks like this. It's almost exactly the same as the film used for pretty much all big movies, except it's tiny and it only lasts for 3 minutes, and you've got to get your whole film into those 3 minutes. But there's no editing, there's no post-production. So whatever you shoot in the camera is going to be in your film. That doesn't mean you've got to do the whole thing in one long shot, but you are editing with the camera. So if you accidentally shoot the sky when you're walking between locations, then you're going to have to change the script because that is going to be in your film. And then when you've done that, you send off your film to us and you make your soundtrack before you've seen the film. And we just line up the first frame of picture in your film with the start of the soundtrack, and that's your straight A. While you're watching them, just bear that in mind and think about how tricky every extra edit and every moment of perfectly synced action, how tricky that was to do.
I think it was like the funnest day I had all year. It was such a challenge, obviously filming within the camera in that fashion, and we weren't actually allowed to be there.
To take on something this physical and choreographed when you have no wiggle room for mistakes is a huge undertaking, and I was absolutely blown away by the results. Not only was the movement well thought through and highly ambitious, but each shot flowed from the previous one almost seamlessly. I could watch this on repeat.
I have to say I sort of fell on my feet with this one. As soon as it opened with a shot of a sound mirror, I kind of felt like I was on home territory, really. I imagined these characters to be travellers from another planet who've just kind of arrived here, and then they express themselves through dance through a series of landscapes. Well done to Alex Cantouris, who directed AGAU. I thought it was fantastic.
Dungeness you're totally allowed to be in, but these sound mirrors are only open certain times of the year. So there's usually a bridge up there, but it wasn't up at that time of season. So that's when Louis was like, yeah, just get on my shoulders, it'll take 2 minutes. We were rapidly losing light, and we went from thinking that we were going to have this really leisurely, wonderful afternoon filming on the beach, and afterwards we were going to have time to like go swimming and like get fish and chips, and then to suddenly being like this mad rush when we realised actually no, we've only got about 25 minutes to do some of the most complicated stuff that we have left.
I thought it'd be really nice if we just wrote something fun and a little silly for Straight A. We read it and we thought, is this achievable? We thought, probably not. So we were like, let's do it.
I don't know how you guys edited that. It's just so blummin' good. The fact that you cut out of an explosion, mid-explosion, to another shot is mind-boggling. So I would love to know how you did that. Please tell me how you did that.
I remember there was a lot of timing involved in timing certain events. And we were running so late and we had so many other issues that we didn't really have a lot of... It's not like we could rehearse everything, basically. It's one of those things that when you're shooting, you're just so in the moment, you're just doing it, and then you cut and you're like, oh God, did we get that? I don't know. We were so into it that it's almost like you can't look back. Like I don't have any memories of it almost because it was so intense.
I'm quite a throw everything at the wall and see what sticks kind of guy, and when people see my film, they'll probably feel that, but in hopefully a slightly coherent manner, and it's not just a crazy mess.
The person you've called can't come to the phone right now. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hello. I just thought I'd leave you a quick message to just update you on what's been happening over the last few months for me. Things changed very quickly. The hospital immediately went into a state of panic. Staff were redeployed rapidly to the medical wards. We were moved into a different part of the hospitals to free up space nearer the intensive care unit that could then be used as COVID wards. Just the movement of their standard wards alone was quite a lot for people to take on. Anyone who had previous experience was asked to be brought back to intensive care immediately. I had to wear a floor-length plastic apron, a PPE-3 mask or a respirator. On top of that, you need to wear a visor and you also need to wear a hairnet and 2 pairs of gloves. So essentially, you're wrapped in plastic. Every single day was a slog. It was relentless. You can't touch your face, so essentially tears were just pooling in the bottom of my mask. You're at this heightened state of anxiety all the time, every single day. I personally don't work on an infectious disease ward. I didn't sign up to being exposed to this. I'm a neurophysio. This isn't my area of expertise. The public perception is we are just doing our job, but that isn't true. I'm not a superhero. I don't want to be treated as one because I don't want to be doing this. I'm in a situation where I have no choice. I love being a physiotherapist. Do I love being an intensive care physiotherapist in a global pandemic? Absolutely not. Every evening after work, I was just so drained. I didn't have any energy. Everyone felt the need to go out for their one designated walk a day, but I didn't even want to do that. The one good thing that came from this for me is that I met so many staff members from different areas of the hospital that I never would have worked with. It feels like we've all been through something together. Everyone plays a role and they're so important. Physiotherapists and occupational therapists really fall under the radar when it comes to the team that work together to get people out of hospital and to actually manage critically ill patients. We talk a lot about nurses and doctors and paramedics, and rightly so, they are so important, but we never speak really about the allied health professionals and the role that we play in enabling patients' recovery.
My partner, Kate, is a physiotherapist. Every night I got the perspective from Kate, who was finding things incredibly difficult. They didn't ask to be heroes. No one was sort of chose to be put in this situation. It was all quite involuntary. So hopefully an element of that finds its way into the film.
Congratulations, Sam. This is a very timely 3-minute documentary that really throws us back into the feelings of that time in lockdown. By centering on the voice and the experience of just one medical professional, it's just a really powerful reminder about how much we asked of those people at that time. I mean, literally to be ready to lay down their lives for us.
It really is an incredibly accomplished piece of work full of loads of different techniques that are all appropriate. Now I've just watched it again to gather my thoughts before recording this, and it's just hit me like an absolute ton of bricks again. So yeah, fantastic.
I really wanted to kind of pack 2020 into my Super 8 cartridge and yeah, do something creative with that concept.
So I hope you enjoy Inside as much as we enjoyed making it, but I also hope you're a little bit scared by it because it's a horror.
I love this film. It was brave, you know, the edits had to work. It works on these very between these two locations, and if the cuts between those locations don't work, then the film's not going to work. And when you're working kind of blind with the roll of film, that's a sort of all or nothing approach, which has really paid off.
One side of the room was dressed for the attic, and then the other side was dressed for inside. So we just had to sort of go like that.
We had to do something where like
someone gets sucked into something.
And then obviously you can't fit in there not ordinarily, so you can't crawl in it. We can't do a miniature of you because it will look obvious. So we had to come up with a weird way of doing it.
Yeah.
And it involved
a coat hanger,
my mum, and taking your clothes off.
There have been a lot of people asking me when it's coming out and what's happening with it. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that people, they assumed it had all been a complete disaster. And I was just prolonging the inevitable disappointment with letting them know.
Okay, reconvening police interview at 13:26, September the 12th, 1973. Okay, Kevin, let's pick up where we left off, shall we? Tell us your whereabouts on the day in question.
Well, on Sunday evening, I went to Mass, as usual. I've always found the presence of nuns quite soothing. If things went differently, I think I could have been a man of the cloth myself.
And where'd you go to once you left the church?
It was on my way back to my mother's house.
Your mother's house, that's where you live, isn't it?
For now, just while I find my feet, mind.
Is that where you came across the young ladies?
It was on my cycle up Acre Hill back to my mother's that I bumped into the two birds. They asked me for a light, and I obliged, and we got chatting.
Darling, lovely to see you.
I've lived around here my whole life, and I never noticed that house before. I thought it was lovely of them to invite me in, since we had just met and all. Their mate seemed a bit, well, you don't get many of those types round here. But they seemed friendly, at least. How wrong I was.
Was there drug consumption going on?
Not that I saw, but I'm certain they laced one of my drinks. I went upstairs to find the bathroom. It was quite a house. And that's when I saw him.
Who'd you see, Kevin?
The victim.
You were found covered in the victim's blood. How do you explain that?
I don't know. I can't remember a thing after that.
Guest of Honour took me on a real journey. I thought the narration and sound design were done so well. It was rich and timed to perfection. I loved the juxtaposition of what we were hearing and what we were shown on screen, and it was really funny and enjoyable. The team did well navigating the low lighting towards the end of the film, and I really enjoyed that the later in the day we got, the darker the shots got, and the darker the story became. And what a house.
The house that we were shooting in belongs to the family of an old friend of mine. It was available for the weekend, so I just thought, wow, this is a great opportunity to shoot something there, because obviously it's an incredible location. So yeah, just roped a lot of friends into coming and doing it with me. Some of them I'd written the roles with them in mind, Edwin the Gimp especially. As soon as I mentioned 70s gear and murder, mystery type stuff, it wasn't that difficult to persuade people to come. When you strip things back to the bare essentials and you haven't got any excuses and you don't overthink things, it makes the process for me massively more enjoyable.
We wanted to make something immersive where the audience could watch it and experience it a bit like the lead character in the film. I just really hope it worked out.
I love the way the filmmakers have kept it really simple, stripped it back. It's just one shot, and we stay with the woman the whole way. And so what we experience is what she experiences. And it's an incredibly simple idea, but really effectively told.
This film was really, really impressive because it just created a real cinematic atmosphere really, really quickly. And I kind of was very dragged into the story and was fearful for the girl walking, even though, you know, maybe nothing was going to happen, but maybe something was going to happen. And I just found that film really special, and I enjoyed that very much. So kudos to the filmmakers there. Well done.
The character that we have, the unnamed young woman walking, we don't really know what's going on in her head. And so I therefore put myself in the position of the audience also not really understanding what's going on in her head.
I also really like the small details of sort of the moving of the bag over the shoulder, the glance behind her, the wrapping the coat. It's an experience I think that all women can relate to.
You have to embrace imperfections. You know, you put so much effort into one frame, and then the frames go by so quickly, and you're creating a bigger picture which you're not in control of.
So weird. How do you even get to the point of constructing something like this? I still cannot find an explanation to this rigid geometry, other than money. Wherever humans have been around, there are straight lines. Way too much information organized in logical systems. I wonder if they feel at home up there, behind concrete walls, because they always seem to be running away. There seems to be some kind of relation between order and progress, ruled by masculine minds, which I think is kind of boring because it leads to the growth of boxes and grid patterns. There's no place for randomness. Do they find nature beautiful? Are these waveforms too complex for them? Maybe there's something feminine about curves which doesn't fit in the rigid, manly world. What's the difference between, for example, a building and a nest? If birds and humans are both part of nature, the difference is that human stuff is made to last forever. Like plastic, such an amazing creation, floating around like a ghost for eternity. But I have discovered a secret. There are humans that decorate their boxes with plants, where wavy life appears. I was hypnotized by the few existing waveforms depicted by art. I touched my human body again, so flexible and yet so mechanical. And in this state of trance, I could feel in my touch the distant future that awaited this planet.
There's individual images that are just really striking. The shot of cycling along the steps, again, quite a long lens shot. It's just brilliant, just visually and sonically so compelling. And when that all comes together, it creates something that's impossible to take your eyes off.
Yeah, it kind of just makes you look at the world differently, which I think is an amazing achievement in a film of this length. Just aesthetically so pleasing, but also philosophically so interesting, and a really brilliant piece of work.
You have to know that things won't come out really as you expected, and I think it's kind of a spiritual exercise to do it. It's like life. Things don't always come as you expect, and you have to be prepared to accept it as it is.
Reason why we are doing these films, because we feel that tension. It's like extreme sports or maybe some illegal products. You have this shoot of adrenaline. No other way of filming makes you feel this sensation.
It's just so joyful. And I think you really get a sense watching it of how much fun everyone involved was having. But also, like, technically it's really, really great and really ambitious, I think, in scale, and, you know, quite epic. Such a gift to watch this piece of fun and joy. So thanks, guys.
I thought this was absolutely terrific. The choreography, the cinematography, it was all absolutely epic, and it paid off. And of course, the recreation of the zoo and the slideshow of the gorilla attack at the end. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
After every shot, we say "Advienne que pourra." That means what will be in French. And that's our motto, you know, "Advienne que pourra."
Well, there we go. Straight 8 2021, the best 8. Well done to everyone who was involved in making those films. It's incredible. Thanks again to our jury, our pre-screeners, CineLab London. I hope you've had a great night. If you're inspired to enter next year, we love you to. We've just opened Straight 8 2022, and guess what? We're heading back to Cannes after 2 years away from it for what will be our 15th annual premiere at Cannes Film Festival. If you want to get involved, you need to hurry up and enter. There's a whole new format. Check it out on straight8.net/2022. Meantime, keep being inspired and keep turning those dreams into realities. Make stuff, do stuff. We're out. Thank you for coming. Well done, everyone. Bye-bye.